Hi all, welcome to this session on Azure Infra, Data and AI. And I'm Feroz Khan here, a bit long name, Abdul Rashid Feroz Khan. You can call me Feroz, and I'm the founder and CEO of CodeSizzler, a Microsoft vendor partner firm which runs for consulting and training for Microsoft partners, and we do migration for Microsoft partners as well. Uh, a big thanks to the Bangalore Azure user group under BDotNet for coming up all the ways, arranging such a wonderful session on giving an importance to the certification track. And a bit important one, I could see like a lot of many people taking up the certification right now, working from home and having as much as the time to be utilized with the certification track as such. And this is exactly the right time to have a community running on with certification track content so that others can get the privileges as well. That's a wonderful job that you have done, Swami and Elias. Thanks for organizing this. And here is my quick introduction. I'm the founder and director, CEO of CodeSizzler. I'm a Microsoft MVP on Azure, a Microsoft certified trainer as well for the past 3 years. And I work with multiple cloud platforms as Azure, AWS, GCP. And I work a lot on the infra migrations and working on the database migrations, IoT steps. And we are also a part of consultants for the folks like Avinet, Accenture, Boeing, Deloitte, all these guys. And here's my Twitter handler and the email ID, which you can reach me out on any time if you have any questions or if you need some suggestions to take it forward on Azure. Feel free to keep me posted if you have any questions on, let's say, even it could be on the certification or it can be even from, let's say, you need to compare some other cloud environments with Azure. I'd be more than happy to help you out. So let's go up here. Here is the table of content which we are going to speak for today. I'll be giving you a quick chat on the Microsoft training and certifications. We'll have a quick roadmap about how the Microsoft training and certifications have been planned by Microsoft on Microsoft Learning Platform. I'll be also speaking about a couple of major tracks, which is said to be apps and infra, and the other one is data and AI that we have. Furthermore, I'll be giving a quick kickstart again on the resources which you can use. You can just refer for if you're looking for self-learning, then it's going to be a more useful one where Microsoft has given a lot many resources that Microsoft Learn or over the GitHub. And there are a few Microsoft Learning partners as well whom you can approach if you want to take up the certification. So that's the other way that we are going to work around. So let me start with the training and certifications here. This is the complete roadmap that Microsoft has planned for the certification right from A to Z of what they have. So they start from the fundamentals, and you can have a different track environments, though we are going to speak about apps and infra and data and AI, which are related to Azure. You can still have a quick walk around. You can find the modern workplace and the business applications certifications, which are available as well. So to start with these certifications for Azure, you need to go up with the fundamentals, which speaks about AZ 900. And if your question is going to be who is the right audience for Azure Fundamentals, then I could say that these certification, your AZ 900 is going to be for a right track of audience who are new to the cloud environment. Let's say that you have years of experience working with on-premise, or you're even new to the IT environment and you just know how to work with a computer. You're just looking for some storage, or you want to come up with a web application which has to run on a data center across the global locations, or let's say that you need to host your database, any kickstart, right, which is going to be on the cloud environment, then you can move up with Azure Fundamentals. Azure Fundamentals will be speaking about the very basic level of what a cloud is, right, and how Microsoft is going to support for the cloud environment with their data centers, which we call it as Azure. And particularly, you can also make comparisons about why Azure, why not AWS, why not GCP, right? And the different services that you have, like you have the database, and moreover, it's more concerned about how the open source integrations have been done with Azure platform and how Microsoft helps for the open source technologies that we have in Azure. So it has been like generations together. We had been working with MySQL and the SQL database that we have. But now Microsoft has changed the trend of the working where you go for Azure, which integrates the open source platform. I can just say that you have a Cosmos DB which can be integrated with Azure, right? think about your IoT. So this is going to be a kickstart speaking about the services that you have in Azure and the basic terminologies that you need to understand about the Azure. Like you have something called as resource groups. I hope you should be knowing that if you have been working with Azure. So you have resource group, you can just go to the resource group, you can tag your resource together. You can take the privileges of having your role-based access. Okay, so just few basic things like which are related to Azure will be covered on this Azure Fundamentals. And speaking about the time span, I'll be speaking more in detail about this course. Okay, I would say that more than a day of time is sufficiently enough to get this certification to be clear. And I will also give you the weightage that I see in the industry working with the partners on each and every certification, which gives a high importance as such. And the other one that you can find for Dynamics for 365, you still have the fundamental tracks, which we have. And on the associate level, let's say this is going to be a mid-level, right? I would say it's going to be a level 200 course that you have, which focus on Azure Administrator, and you have Azure Developer followed up by the security engineers as well, which is said to be on Azure data track alone, right? When I say data and infra, it's going to be on, let's say administrator comes on the infra part. You're no more going to have the papers bundles together, writing your IP address, writing your CIDR addressing, writing up your subnet. You're not going to do all those things. You're just going to say Microsoft that I need a data center which can be at South India, and I just need as IP address which can be like let's say for example it's going to be 192.168 something, or let's say 10.0.0/16, and I can give the subnet addressing there. And Microsoft will automatically arrange your subnet addressing at the backend. You can still add more subnets. I can say one can be for my front-end application and the other one can be for my backend applications, right? So it makes way together the things to be much simple and not just about the networking. Administrator is a lot to speak about how you can plan your infrastructure. Okay, I mean from the implementation point of view, not from the architect's point of view. An architect, the major difference that you have between an architect who is there on the expert, that's your 302, and your 104 is that an architect always thinks about what's going to be an optimal service, right? And you're going to think about what's going to be the comparisons that you have. Let's say why I should go with a VPN. What else the connections that I have, or what else the service that I have in Azure to come up with the express connectivity, right? So that's the role of architect where he thinks about. And then administrators, where once when the architect gives the architecture to the hands, your admin is gonna implement it. So administrator certification is going to focus a lot on the implementation, how to put up your VNet, how to do the peering, how you're going to connect between multiple services that you have in Azure. Okay, so that's going to be the role of administrator. And this is a beta course as of now, 104. The roadmap was actually Microsoft started with something called a 533, which was Azure Infrastructure course. We then slightly swapped towards a exam code called as 103, and now we are moved towards 104, which is said to be your administrator course. And the difference is that Microsoft is right now working on role-based certifications, and they are much focused on removing the services which are related to the developer, which are related to the architects, and they have still screwed up where they need to focus only on the admin track. So that's exactly how it goes. And developer, Kunal has covered a lot to speak about developer, the right audience who can go up with a developer. So that I will leave it on finger drops. And you have the security engineer, which speaks about the different role of security certifications. And this is again an associate one. It's going to speak about how you can keep your services to be secure, right? You have different services like think about Azure Monitor. You have application insights. You have Azure Backup, right? And it also speaks a lot about the Azure Security Center, which is said to be, a pioneer service that you have in Microsoft Azure. And this guy was the first one who came into the market speaking about the Security Center. And later we had, if you had been from the background of AWS, you can still see that we have this inspector, guard duty, all those things. So just similar options are there with the security engineer. But this makes you to be much more comfortable when you speak about preserving your hybrid environment, right? So your security engineer certification will completely speak from the role of security, how the key vault is going to work, how the SaaS tokens are going to work, right? What are the multiple ways, or what is going to be the role of you as a security engineer to keep your entire architecture to be on a preserved environment. So that's about your security engineer. And data scientist is going to be, I would say data scientist is going to be a certification which speaks about like how you can keep your big data workloads to be managed, right? Think about your runbooks that you have. I mean, your notebooks that you're going to create. Okay, your Jupyter notebooks, you have Azure notebooks. You're going to connect it for the Kafka environment. Okay, so this is all going to be the role of data scientists. It's going to be completely for the general audience who are going to be on the big data environment. And AI engineer, of course, let's say you're going to build an IoT application, you're going to build a cognitive service, right? Any AI service that you're going to come across. Microsoft plays a lot on the AI service, which is said to be cognitive service, we call it across. You have Face API, you have Lewis APIs. Okay, so this certification clearly speaks about the multiple API environments that you have. And the certification track has been mentioned with a code called as AI 100. And you have the data engineer, which is said to be DP 100, you have DP 200 and 201 as well. This is for the data engineers, where it's going to speak about the ETL operations, right? The right audience is going to be the guy who takes care of the ETL operations that you have. You need to transform the workloads. You need to put up a polybase. Okay, so that's going to be a right track where you can come across. And this data engineer will be working on services like SQL data warehouse. He needs to understand about the SQL database and Azure storage. This is all going to be the source from where they're going to call the data. And they will also be having a touch base, which is going to speak about data lake store, data factory, data bricks. Okay. So it's going to be a touch base, a complete touch base on, let's say, the services which can help you for an architecture of ETL operations. Okay. Your extract, transform, and the load operations that you're going to do. And at top of these things, you have the expert level of certification, which is said to be DevOps. DevOps is, one of the other certification which I see on a high weightage one on the industrial market now. DevOps, Azure DevOps is like one service which has wrapped up an ocean together. It has your Azure repos, you can manage your boards, you can manage your pipelines just at one console. You have just one console window on which you're going to manage all the entire workloads that you have. So DevOps is said to be a highly valuable certification on the industry as of now. And you have the solution architect. The solution architect is again a course which is said to be a big demand that you have, and it speaks almost like all services that you have in Azure. And the right audience is that, let's say you're gonna build an architecture for your team, right, for your product that you have, and you would be on a responsibility to make sure like what are all the different services that you can compare for high availability, for SLA, right? So that's exactly where we go with the solution architect. So solution architect and your DevOps engineer is going to be a part for apps and infra. There's nothing as expert. There's nothing as data expert or anything. You just have associate level of certifications, which is AI Enter. You have DP 100, DP 200, all those things. Okay. So with this, I would also have extended my wings towards SAP workloads that you can find here. So this is said to be a specialty that you have. Working with the industries and working with partners across the globe, I could see a huge demand which comes across on the SAP workloads. It's not about like just implementing the SAP workloads, but how you're gonna run your, let's say, HANA applications inside your SAP, or inside your Azure, or you can even still think about like how you're gonna migrate the workloads, right, from, let's say, from SAP systems itself, or you can even say from your local on-prem environment that you have, or you can still think about from the other cloud that you have towards Azure. So this is all the service that you have, which is on SAP with Azure that you come across. Excuse me. Swami, can you just give me a quick acknowledgement if you can see my screen, please? Hello.
Hey, we still see your slides, Feroz.
about your SAP workloads that you have, and the next comes with your apps and infrastructure that we have. The apps and infrastructure certification is said to be a core level of one that you need to make sense across, right? I'll be giving you a roadmap from where you need to start, how you can keep your certification track to be designed, right? How you can get it certified, how you can get it cleared on an easy normal search. So your apps and infra's complete overview, just consider this slide, right? Just consider the one which you can find at the first split that you have. You need to start from the Azure fundamentals if you're completely new to Azure, or if you still have a working knowledge on Azure, that's good to go. Okay, you no need to worry about it. So you can just stick towards it. Just a level of working knowledge on Azure is more than enough to get guided across. And on top of it, you also have Azure, the associate level of certifications, which I was speaking right now, and you have the expert level of certifications that you have. I'll not be covering about 204 year, and I'm pretty much sure that even DevOps would have been a heads up by Krunal, but still I'll give a touch base over there. Okay, but I'll not be covering 204 on this session. And here you start with. So this is the complete roadmap for your apps and infra certifications. The lines that you can find with the blue, a dotted line is said to be an optional path that you have to achieve your expert level. And the line which you can find as a continuous blue, right, that helps you to get your badge, which is said to be on a role based. And here, it's optional again. As I said earlier, you can either start with Azure Fundamentals. If you're new to it, just to have a quick brush up, you can go with Azure Fundamentals. But it's not recommended that you need to take the certification as such. And again, speaking from a industry point of view, I don't see a high weightage which comes on the Azure certification track as such. So you no need to worry about it, right? For Azure fundamentals. So it either matters or it doesn't matter. So it's up to you. Like if you have a voucher or something which is given by organization, then you feel free to take up the certification. But it's not a recommended act that you need to take up Azure fundamentals for sure as such. It's optional for you. And you can always go up with the next one that you can find, right? Let's say that you need to become a DevOps engineer expert, then 204 is said to be again a recommended one which you need to take it for sure. 204 speaks from a different environment. It speaks about how you can manage your .NET core application. It speaks about, excuse me, yeah, it speaks about how you can manage the workloads that you have. Okay, it also speaks a lot about your Visual Studio. Developing your applications with Visual Studio, developing your applications with Visual Studio, .NET Core. Okay, so different environments that you have and the services that you have across. You also need to know about the NuGet packages that you call. Okay, as a DevOps engineer, you need to know about the complete application, how it's gonna run, right? So that's exactly where we go with this DevOps associate one. And administrator is to manage the pipelines. It's optional, it's not mandatory, but it helps you to make sense about how you can manage the workloads. Okay, it speaks a lot about how the pipeline has been built and how you have called your data. That makes the sense here. And completing either of these certifications along with 400 will help you to gain your DevOps engineer certification track. So here is for the Azure fundamentals. The Azure fundamentals will be covering excuse me, just give me a moment. Excuse me. Yes. So the Azure fundamentals track will be covering a lot, speaking about the cloud concepts, the basic cloud concepts that you have, the core Azure services like your compute, what comes under IaaS, what comes under PaaS, and what comes under SaaS as such. And it also speaks about the different cloud environments like public cloud, private, and how you can set up a hybrid cloud, right? What makes you to go with a hybrid cloud as such. And security, the security services, how Azure data centers are secured as such. It's not going to speak about key vaults or anything. And the final one is about the pricing that you can find, the pricing and the support plans. And completing all these things, you have weightage for all these certifications, and this will help you to score up with Microsoft certified Azure fundamentals. And I would say just a day of preparation is more than enough to get this certification to be clear. and the course ID is AZ900. And next to this, you have the administrator associate. So the administrator associate speaks, you need to start, and the right audience is that the one who has a basic level of understanding of the on-premise environment, about the networking, about how the IP address gets aligned, right? About the CIDR addressing, about VM, just a level of knowledge on how the VMware workload is hosted, or the basic knowledge about the virtual machines is more than enough to go across with these certifications. And in case if you're new to it, still it doesn't matter, but make sense at least about what a virtual machine is, right? And a comparison of the VM with your, probably I would say that have a comparison with virtual machine compared to a container environment. What's the role of a virtualization layer, right? Your orchestrator layer that you have, like Hyper-V and Swarm, or your Kubernetes engine that you have. So this certification 104 I mean, the very first module that you can find, identity and governance, is going to speak about the AD objects, your Azure AD objects that you have. So you can create users, you can create groups, you can just go across with having your bulk users to be updated, managing your guest accounts. Okay, all those things will be covered here. This holds a light weightage on your exams point of view. You get a 15 to 20% of questions on the identity and governance. Makes sense. It's not going to help you out to set up AD Connect, not for the hybrid environment. And other than that, it's going to speak only about Azure Active Directory. And it also speaks a bit about the governance, that's your role-based access control, how you're going to provide access to your Azure services that you run using the roles that you have. Like I can be a owner for a VM. I need one of my Met to be a let's say a contributor, and I need the other person to be a reader. I can give those privileges here on identity and governance. And you can also manage the subscriptions along with the policies and the logs that you have. The next list weightage that you have here is on storage, which is again 10 to 15%, which speaks about the replication patterns on Azure storage, how you can generate SaaS tokens, how you can manage the access keys. Okay, again, from the admin's point of view. And it also speaks a bit about the file shares, an SMB protocol service that you have, where you can share the files between different cloud machines, or between a on-premise machine and the cloud machine that you have. The most important weightage that you need to focus on in the administrator certification is to be on the compute part. The compute speaks about how you can keep your applications to be highly available from the VM, how you can automate the deployments that you have using ARM templates, how you can take a VHD backup of your disk that's running on, how you can set encryptions, how you can redeploy the VMs, adding data disks, configuring the data disks. Okay, so those things will be on the compute. So this has a high weightage, and this also speaks better about your container services, container instances that you have, and the container registry settings that has to be configured to push your image, the master and the slave nodes that you have in the container environment. So those things will be discussed on this compute part. And the next high weightage is set to be on the virtual networks, setting up your VNet, go with your VNet peering, setting up the DNS environments, setting up the public and private DNS zones, having load balancers to be configured, using the network performance monitoring over here, and going up with different services like VPN gateways, express routes, right? Having your Azure virtual WAN connectivities to be configured. So those things will be there on the VNet that you have. This is again a less weighted one, monitoring and backup. Monitoring and backup is going to speak about your logs. I mean, your log analytics that you have in Azure, which collects the logs, and it can heal up automatically when you, let's say, if I'm going to speak about VM, right? I have a storage service called a diagnostic storage account, which can collect all the logs and it can get healed up automatically. You don't need to have a support guy or a troubleshooting guy who's going to sit at the back end to manage the workloads and to fix the blue screen errors or the bootstrap errors that you have in the server machine. It's going to monitor and it's going to heal up automatically in case if there's a chance of failure that's going to happen. And you can also set up recovery services like you have ASR, Azure Site Recovery. So that will be covered here. The major difference is that previously we had SQL and a bit of HANA, which was getting covered here, and now we don't have those things. It has been screwed up even more to set only to the administrator track. So I repeat again, high concern on compute. VNet will help you to get this certification to be clear. And you just need to have a quick brush up on the other service like identity, storage, and monitor and backup. So this exam is still a beta exam that we have. And as far as the update from Microsoft Learning Platform, you can still take 103, but I would recommend that you can just quickly go with 104 rather than concentrating on 103 and taking a transit exam for 104 as such. Here goes as for my concern, right? The reading for for a guy who is new to Azure, 5 days of preparation with hands-on should be good to get cleared with your administrator certification. And the next comes your architect's track. The architect track is going to be a combination of your 300 and your 301. So it speaks about the business continuity that you have, the workloads and the security that you're going to come across. It's completely about the architect goal, right? How you're going to lay the architecture as such. So by the end of this course, you should be able to understand about how you can put up an architecture. What are all the architect goals that you have? Okay, you need to speak about the architecting the network infrastructure that you have in Azure, the architect compute infrastructure like your VM. Okay, and container environments as well. You need to know about architecture, infrastructure options, the different infra options that you have, and the message brokering services like you have service bus. You need to know about event grid, event hub, when to use a event grid, when to use a event hub, and when to use a notification hub as such, right? Uh, Microsoft Microsoft has fixed a plan that when you say that you're going to be an architect, when you're going to be a cloud architect on Azure, you are going to be a person who can define an architecture for any sort of workloads. It's not just about a web application, or it's not just about an entire application which runs on a compute, or let's say a container or something like that. What in case if I'm going to put you on a big data operations? I want you to be an architect for a big data workloads as well. I want you to be an architect on the IoT part as well. So this certification 302 has been built on an objective which clears almost all topics that you have on Azure. It's going to speak from the architect's point of view. It speaks about the modern applications that you can build in Azure, the API integrations that we will be running on Azure, how you can set up your business continuity, how you can set up your DR, okay, and how you can set up the architect migration plans that you have. Okay, so that's said to be the concern here. Okay, speaking on this, I would say infrastructure, configuring your infrastructure, and you can find the workloads and security at the top, right? That seems to be a high weighted one, which you need to focus on. And here you can find we have the workload management, okay, your workload requirements, and I I can still say about identity and security. That's your AD, setting up AD Connect environments, and focus even more about the infrastructure strategy. Okay, so these things will help you to get this certification to be cleared on a ease. You need to have a very base knowledge of Azure services like a storage, data lake store, okay, more into the compute like VM, VNet, all those things. Only then you're a right guy to attend the architect course. And please make sense if you're going to move up with a partner, or if you're even going to move up with a self learning, you need to make sense about a white paper discussion. You need to host yourself with a white paper discussion to understand of how you can lay an architecture, and only then you can clear this certification. Your architect certification is more and more into use cases. You will be given up with a use case, and you need to understand the use case. You need to think from the architect's point of view, and you need to answer it. This exam is said to be a bit tricky one compared towards the other one that you have. Okay, I mean administrator, or you speak about developer, all those things. And by the end of this certification, you'll be getting a badge which is said to be an Azure Solution Architect Expert. So here is for the SAP workloads. For your SAP workload management, you'll be going up with migrating the SAP environments that you have. You need to know about how you'll be managing your planning and administering your Microsoft Azure for the SAP workloads that you have. This is said to be a right track for architects on Azure. I mean, you should have already completed your Azure architecture certification if you're going to work on this. Only then you can get a good experience and knowledge of the applications where it can be hosted as such. And you should be having a basic knowledge of SAP applications, SAP HANA, NetWeaver, your OS servers for SAP applications and the databases, your ARM templates, the operating systems, marketplace that it supports with, your cloud infrastructure, storage structures that you have, and the high availability design patterns, which has been set for DR and data protection. So by the here in this course, you need to focus on more into how you can build and deploy your Azure SAP workloads, and you also need to focus on more on having your support for SAP workload environments to be designed. You need to give a brush up on migrating the SAP workloads to Azure and validating the Azure infrastructure environment for SAP along with operation support. So this is again a critical, I mean, a bit tricky course where you need to have an intensive training or you need to come up with a lot of hands-on that you need to do for AZ 120. And completing this certification will help you to gain Azure for SAP workload specialty as such. So here is going to be like you just take 4 days of, I mean, 4 days of training or 4 days of working on it, but makes sense that you need to focus on more into probably I can say that you have to complete the architecture and then you come up for the SAP workloads. That would be an easy learning map for you to get your certification to be clear. This course, I could see like it has a huge demand across the globe, right? I work with partners who are from Middle East, from US, and all these guys, and I could see there's to be a huge demand for this course. So, in case if you're planning up, I mean, your future roadmap for your career or something like that, I would definitely say please put up Azure for SAP workloads on your calendar. Microsoft helps you with different practice tests that we have. You have services on Azure with AZ 104, 204, 900, all these things where Microsoft has given the practice test. And even I'm building up with a tool for Microsoft on which we are going to come up with the practice test. We will just get a Pearson view of experience. So it will be again a community one. It's going to be a free of cost one. You can always either reach me or reach the user group, right? Reach Mr. Elias, or you can reach Mrs. Swami to get in connect with me, where you can just take up a demo certification. You can make sense on how the certification is going to be. You will just get a Pearson level of experience. And yes, definitely. As of now, Microsoft has focused on making these certifications to be taken from the home. Okay. And recently we came across with an update as well. I mean, the Microsoft partners came up with an update that Microsoft is focusing to have a cost cutoff on the certification. It has not been implemented, but you would be having a cost cutoff on the certifications. And it focuses a lot to put up the certification to be taken from the home. Okay, more than preferring towards the Pearson centers, just having this COVID-19 on mind. So all these certifications can be taken from your home. You no need to worry about it, but you need to ensure that you have the prerequisites which are met. You need to have a camera. You need to have your system which has been compatible with, and you need to be very much sure that you will not minimize the browser or you will get out of the layer which will be given by the Pearson view. Okay, so you know you are not supposed to do all those things. And in case if you're trying to do all these things, then Microsoft, I mean, your certification will be denied immediately. The voucher which you have bought, the purchase, or all these things will be denied immediately. And let me give up these links. I will pass it with the user group owners, and you can just get the links for the practice test from there. It's a free of cost one, and you can just always practice with that. Here is the data and AI certifications. The data and AI certifications are all the certifications prove that a person has the skill to help operations and the organizations to be maximized with the capabilities of the cloud to achieve the desired business outcomes that you come across. So this certifications has been updated again with a data scientist track, AI engineer track, and data engineer. So speaking on a level, it's going to be DP 100, DP 200, and we are going to have AI 100 as well. So here is the roadmap again. You can just go up with fundamentals again. I mean, it's an optional one, but you can go for data scientist associate. If you already have a knowledge on Azure, you can just go up with this. The Azure AI Engineer Associate here is said to be using the cognitive service. It's going to deal about the cognitive service, machine learning, and a knowledge mining to architect and implement the Microsoft AI solutions, which involves the natural language processing, speech APIs, you can say vision API, bot frameworks, and the agents that you have. And the Microsoft Certified Azure Data Scientist Associate is going to speak about machine learning techniques to train, evaluate, and to deploy models that will solve the business critical problems that we have. And finally, you have the Data Engineer Associate that you can find, which seems to be the data engineer's design and the implementation strategy for managing, monitoring, security, and privacy of data using the full stack of Azure and data services. So here we go with the learning path. Your learning path is going to be more about the feature engineering. I mean, this is DP100 is going to speak more into the machine learning. You need to know about the algorithms. Okay. You need to know about what is the classification, what is the regression model, how you can call the data from the storage, how you can keep your data sets to be on a null. Removing the null values. Cleaning up your data sets. Okay. So that's a level of understanding that you need to have on this. This is the easiest course that you have, DP100, if you want to set into the data scientist environment. And for this, you can just take up some 3 days of working on it, and that should be more than enough to get the certification clear.
Hey, Feroz, sorry to interrupt. Can you please make these slides full screen? Can you hide the presenter view and make it full screen, please? That's some of the feedback from the audience.
Oh, presenter view. I could see that it's on the full screen. Can you let me know now?
No, we see actually you need to do a swap presenter view on top, third one if you see on the top. Just click on that so that this becomes your full screen.
Chart presenter view.
Swap presenter view would be there.
You're seeing my second screen? Oh, I'm sorry about it. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
How about now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right. I'm really sorry about it. Yeah. So here we go. You have the Data Engineer Associate certifications, which are set to be for DP200 and the 201 that you have. So you need to take up the data processing. Okay. You have to make sense about how you can do the ETL operations, your extract, transform, and the load operations that you do. You need to know about how you're going to maintain the data security compliance, right? Having your data to be protected on the storage account, setting up the Databricks environment, Polybase pipelines that you have. Okay. So this is going to speak, completing these two certifications, your 200 and 201 will help you to score your Data Engineer Associate certification. And here is the course details again. You can just go up with the 3 days, or you can go up with the 2 days of track that you have, which helps you to get it certified. So at the max, like both of these can take you 5 days of time to get it certified. So before going on to this, just make sure that you complete DP100 and then you will stick towards DP200 and 201. Okay. And here we go with the AI Engineer one. This is going to speak about a bit about IoT and a lot about your APIs that you have, like you have vision, you have language. Okay. So this is going to speak about the requirements that you have for the multiple APIs that you have. You need to know which API can be used for a particular solution and how you can spin up the APIs, how you're going to call the access keys, how you're going to build an application. Let's say I'm going to build a .NET application or a console application. Consider I'm going to build a console app and I'm going to use a facial recognition, right? Then I need to spin up a face API. I need to know how I'm going to call my access keys on the app config file. So that's how exactly the course walks through. And I could say that it's more about the AI engineer, but you should have some developer knowledge of experience as well to take up this certification. And developer knowledge of experience in the sense having a base level of OOPS understanding is good to go. At top of it, you also need to know about having a chatbot to be built, right? You need to know about intents. You need to know about a logical understanding about how a chatbot can be answered for different questions that you have. So completing this will help you to score again with AI Engineer Associate. And here is the course, which has a walkthrough for 3 days of time. And of course, it's going to be like level 100 course. So just a fundamental knowledge on Azure is good to go. You don't need to worry about either you need to take DP 100 or 200 or those things. Your data track is completely different and your AI track is completely a different one. And furthermore, we have the practice tests for these certifications. I'll give you the links once again to the user group owners, and you can try taking up the practice test as well once when you complete the certifications training. And to take up this certification, we have resource. Okay, you have a Microsoft certification overview. You can just go to microsoft.com/certifications. You can find different certifications that you have. You can even design your learning path from there. And you also have the curriculum, the official curriculum, which we call it as MOOC. You can refer that. You can go with Microsoft Learning Platform. It's a free of cost one, and they give you a sandbox level of environment as well. And you have the other environment called demos.microsoft.com. You can just go up there. You can try spinning up a VM. You don't need to rely on even activating a free trial of Azure subscription. You can just go to demos.microsoft.com. You can try working with the workloads which are related to the certification. You have it there. And it's open. It's not just about Azure. You have it for the modern workplace. You have it for Power Apps. You have Dynamics 365 and everything there. You have a template. You just need to spin up. They give you a user ID and password, and you can work with that. You can always find the learning partners as well. The learning partners who are globally available in tie-up with Microsoft, who can train you with the certification tracks that we have. You can even prefer competency partners like gold partner or silver partner. So if you want to go with those things, you need to make sure that you have completed the certification as such. And the learning map for the certifications are available with the certification poster that you have, the training certification poster. So that's about your certification tracks that you have. And apart from this, you can always go with the GitHub, which I have. I have just pushed a few over here. You can take a note of github.com/codesizzler. I'll pass this to Swami and the other user owners as well. You can just take a note of it. You have 203 repo, you have 300 and 301. We are just working on to push 204 as well into it. As of now, we just have the solution file. Okay. You can go to this GitHub link and you can refer for the documents which are available here. And for DP 100 and all those things, we already have it there. You can refer the documents which are available. So there we go. Let me know if you have any questions, please.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for that wonderful session, Feroz. There are quite a few questions which I would read out, and then it will be good if you could answer them.
Sure, thanks.
Right. So there's a question from Bharat that can we do Azure DevOps directly, or is there any prerequisites required?
You can actually take DevOps certification directly, but if you're new to Azure, right, I would always recommend you please go with 204, and then you can move across with 400. You need to have a good developer level of experience. You need to know about how you can call a storage from let's say a queue, or you need to know how you can put up your data towards your blob, right? And how you can manage the different versions of .NET applications that you're going to build and host it towards Azure as such. So it's recommended that you complete 204. You don't even have to take the certification, but you just have a brush up on 204, and then you should be good to walk around on 400. I hope I'm audible, Swami.
Yeah, absolutely, Feroz. Thank you. I'm just looking at the next question. Sorry. So, yeah. So when old Azure Architect certification shall get replaced with the new one? When will the old Azure Architect certification will get replaced with the new one?
I hope as of now, we were expecting it to be until the August 31st of the deadline, which Microsoft has promised. But certainly, we are also getting updates that the date might get extended due to this COVID-19. As of now, Microsoft has defined the strategy to be on August 31st.
Okay, there's another question, whether do we need to take AZ 104 before Azure Architect and Design Expert?
100%, yes. It's recommended you take 104. I mean, not to gain the badge, but at least a brush up to make sense that you're good with the networking and the infrastructure options that you have in Azure, like your VPN, your Express Route, and all those things. If you're completely new to Azure and if you're going to walk around 300, I mean 303, 302 that you have, then it's going to be a finger cross for you. It makes more complicated for you. So it's recommended that you can take 104, which is an optional path. And or if you're still saying that you're very much good with the Azure networking options, then you can directly go for Architect Pros.
Okay, there's also another thing. I think in some of your slides you mentioned about this optional path, right? So there's a feedback about, can you explain more about the optional path? So what do we mean by optional path, and then how does it help, or on things like, can you throw some lights on that, Feroz?
Sure thing, Vitri. Your optional path is just to ensure that Swami, can you just give me an acknowledgement if you can see the screen as a complete one? Can you see the full screen?
Yeah, I'm seeing the slides now. Available practice test is where you are currently.
Yeah. So this, I will take the architect one, as I could see a lot of questions on data and AI. Sorry, apps and infra. Yeah, take up this one. See, this optional path is to ensure that you will have a base level of understanding. It's not mandatory to take up the certification. Optional path mentions that it's a recommended to have a brush up on those certification tracks, and then you come up for DevOps or you come up with a 302 like that. It's not that you need to clear the certification. I repeat, it's a recommended one just to make sure that you feel good with the topics, right? If not, what in case if I'm just directly saying that you need to connect the express route and then you connect your applications towards the express route, you put up a network firewall over there. That doesn't make sense, right? If you're new to Azure, so it's recommended you go with 104. You make sense about what an express route is, how it's going to be a different one with the other comparison options that you have, and how you can lay your express route, right? How you can implement an express route so that it will be better for you to understand the further architects white paper discussion, which we are going to do on 302. I hope that's clear, right?
Yeah, sure. Thanks much, Feroz. Yeah, I hope it's clear, Dhruva. And there's next question from Bharat. So he says he's from test automation background. In that case, can he go directly and do the Azure DevOps expert examination, or what kind of path he needs to take?
Test automation background. Okay, so I could see that he might be on the testing with the on-prem. Okay, in that case, yes, you can just directly go to the DevOps certification, but make sure that you have a fundamental. You spend a day of time on Azure Fundamentals, and then go with your Azure DevOps, please.
Okay, and I'm also seeing other questions. So somebody says, can you share link on Microsoft site for Azure DevOps certification? It says that need to complete either admin or developer associate first.
You no need to complete it. It's a recommended path. That's it. It's an optional path. So if you wanna join, get the link, right, you can just find. Give me a moment. You can just Google for easy 400, and you should be good to go.
Feroz, we don't see your screen. I believe only the slides were put up, so it's completely blank now. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just give me a moment.
Sure.
How about now, Swami? Are you able to see
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, I see the browser now.
Okay. So here we have this AZ400. You can just look to this. Okay, and you have the content. You just click on the download exams outline, right? It speaks a lot about the test and all those things. I'll share this link to on the chat, and you can keep it shared to the participants. You can find the ways to prepare. You have the online free one. You have the course materials here. You can just click on start, and you can do the e-learning over here. So I'll share this link with you people.
Sure, that'll be great. And also another question is, to be a top data science professional, what are the certifications that can be taken?
I'm sorry, Swami. Can you come again with the question, please?
To be a top data science professional, what are the certifications that can be taken?
Okay, data science, right? You need to make sure that you will be on the DP 200 and 201 to be taken up. I repeat, it's DP 200 and DP 201.
Okay. So the next question from Vishwanath is, I'm from apps DBA track. Which cloud path is best suitable for my experience? So I believe he's from database administration background. So he's looking for what is the path which is suitable for his experience.
Okay, we haven't covered on this, but you have a
Yeah.
separate base again. It's said to be Azure Database Administrator Certification. You can just see here. I'll pass this link once again to Swami, and you can get it from him. So you have certification to certificate DP 300, which speaks about relational databases on Azure. That's your SQL database that you have. It speaks about your Azure SQL database, your SQL database managed instance. It speaks about how you can set up a hybrid cloud on a database environment. Probably I could still say about, setting up hybrid cloud, right? And doing your database migrations, like you have DMS services. So all those things would be covered here. And this should be a right track for you.
Great. And next question from Lakshman is, he has already completed AZ 203 and he's preparing for AZ 400. So he's checking if after completing AZ 400, will it be easier to take up the architect expert examination?
I don't say that you need to go for AZ 400 and you come to the architect as such. It's like two-way of paths that you have. The audience track for DevOps is completely different, and the audience track for architect is completely different. So in case if you have completed 203, I hope you should be good with Azure services. So you can just right away go for the 302. You no need to move for the DevOps one. That's the place, Swami.
Okay, great. And there is also another question, but it's not directly related to the certification. Someone is checking if there are any autonomous self-managed database offerings in Azure, like Oracle Cloud. I believe there are plenty of managed services in Azure. Yeah.
Yes, you have a lot of flavors that you have in Azure. You can even set up hybrid cloud. You can put up with Azure Stack. Oracle, yes, of course, we have Oracle. You have PostgreSQLs. Okay, you have the multiple flavors of databases which are available. You can, in case if you got a chance to get an Azure subscription, or you can even activate a free trial. You can just go to the marketplace, right? Or you go for Azure.microsoft.com. You can find the products there, and you can just search for Oracle or any database flavors that you have, and that will help you to understand the ecosystem of the databases, which supports for third-party flavors that you have.
Great, thanks, Feroz. That's about it. I don't see any other further questions here. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Feroz, for the wonderful session. And audience, please keep posting your questions. So he'll be around for some more time and he can answer in the Q&A panel directly in the chat response, right? So before we wind up, I would like to just put up a small slide to do a final note. So if I can take over the control, Feroz, I'll quickly share my screen.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Swami.
Yeah, thanks much, Feroz. Yeah. I hope you all see my screen, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I've just put up a feedback form. So this is the first time what we've attempted with the Teams live event. I'm sure there could be a bit of improvements which can be done. So I definitely request all of the audience who are part of the sessions to provide your valuable feedback so that will help us in organizing the events much better. So that's the feedback link, and I'm also putting up the links for all the user groups which are doing this event today. One is BDotNet, so please follow us on all of these for future events. So in Meetup, it's meetup.com/BDotNetUG. If you're on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/group/BDotNet, and if you're active on Twitter, you can follow us on twitter.com/BDotNetUG. And the similar thing for the Microsoft Azure Bangalore user group. So it's meetup.com/Microsoft Azure Bangalore, and the Facebook group and the corresponding YouTube link as well. Right. So we'll share all of these recordings in both of these groups, in both the Meetup on Facebook and Twitter. So yeah, you can follow us for future events and everything. And most importantly, please share your candid feedback. That will be very much helpful in understanding how we want to, what kind of sessions we want to organize, plus what kind of tools and technologies we want to use for organizing those sessions as well. Right. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending your Saturday morning with us.
Thank you so much, Swami, for this fantastic event. And Ilyas, thanks for all your hard work and efforts you put in.
Thanks, Pranal. Thanks, Pranal and Feroz, for taking time and sharing your knowledge with the community. Appreciate that.
It's my pleasure, Swami, and really thanks for the user group owners, Ilyas and Swami, for making it a big blast, and moreover at the right time. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, learners, making all the way around on your weekends, right? Though we don't understand which is going to be a week and which is going to be a weekend that we have. Still, thank you so much for making it across. Thank you all.
Yes, someone is asking if we will share the slides. Yes, definitely we would share the slides and the recordings and everything. So please, it will be put up in all of these social media means. So just follow us, and then you'll be able to get all the updates. Yeah. All right, then we'll give back minutes for every one of you. So you all have a good weekend, rest of the weekend, and stay home, stay safe, stay positive, and keep learning. Thank you so much, guys.